Motivation Live Show. Today, we are going to talk about impactful networking. Do you feel that you don't get enough impact from your networking or with your network? If so, hang with us. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, it's another Thursday. We are so excited to be here with the show. I'm Colleen Struby, the follow-up fortune finder, and my wonderful co-host today is Amy Lancy. And we've got some great topic to talk about, networking. And of course, both of us love this topic. So we're super excited to be here to share with you. And remember, you are also part of this show. We want you to comment and be part of the conversation. If you got questions, you got comments, let's hear it out there. So even if we're on the replay, go ahead and comment so that we can get back to you with those answers and questions and be part of this community. So our first question is, how does understanding what networking is help you to be more impactful? Amy, go ahead.
So when I saw this question, I had to ask myself, what does being impactful mean to me? And to me, impactful means, leaving a lasting impression on somebody in such a way that helps them, but also helps me to open more doors. So when I think about what networking actually is, to me, networking is all about building relationships, building community, building that support. And once I recognized that this was really what networking was, it was not so much about how many people can I meet. It was more about, how can I find people that I want to have in my circle, where I can build meaningful business relationships where we're all winning together. And so therefore, once I recognized this, then I was able to be more impactful in my relationships because I was thinking more about, how can I help the other person? How can we help each other? How can we be better power partners going forward?
Yeah, I think when you look at networking and understanding like what you can do in the networking arena to really, like Amy was saying, is make those connections, have that impact with the people surrounding you. I think that's really where you can really take advantage of networking as being that one-to-one, kind of one-to-many relationships. And now with virtual networking and in-person networking, it can really take your business and your relationships to the next level. So let's look at getting motivated, right? So we always want to talk about, like, how can we motivate us with this topic? And so why is it important to be impactful in your networking? It's always going to go to you, Amy.
I know. I was like,
until we get somebody off the
couch. It's important to be impactful with your networking, because if you don't understand what impact really means, then networking is always going to be a transactional relationship of, like, what can you do for me, and then what can I do for you, which, it's still that same conversation with impact, but it's coming from a more heartfelt place and, like, genuine curiosity of, what are your strengths? What are my strengths? How can we actually help each other? As opposed to more the transactional kind of mindset where it's like, ooh, like, what can I take from you in order to get your clients to pay me, and vice versa. So yeah, Peggy, it totally is all about intention. And I think that when your intention is right, that is when you are going to be more impactful. So, like, it's different for me. Like, let's say I went out to Colleen and I said, hey, Colleen, I think we can really hit it out of the park as a partnership. We should do some kind of workshop together. You'll invite your people, I'll invite my people, and we'll just show everyone what we can do together. That's different. That is impactful to me versus hey, so Colleen, I see that you are doing this and that's different than what I do. Now let me give you a whole pitch to get you to give me all of your clients without really going the other direction too, because there's a two-way street going on. And also, like I said, that's more transactional, like what can you do for me versus what can we do for both of us.
Yeah, I think definitely when you're looking at creating those relationships and building those connections, right? And I also think about, because we were talking before the show, and it's like impact. Is it really the impact of what I have on the people in the room, the network, or is it the impact on my business when I'm looking at networking? So you really have to look at networking from both sides of that coin. And if you look at, you're at networking, a lot of people are in industries where there might be multiple people in the room that do the same or similar things, realtors, mortgage, titles, coaches now, right? So how can you make an impact on the people who are sitting in that room to make you stand out, right? We were talking, what can you do to really change up the way you say what you do, who you serve, what problems do you solve, so that when someone hears that, you're just not the next, dime a dozen kind of person, that they really, you impact what they're going, oh yeah, I need to talk to that person. So yeah, when we're looking at impact, you need to look at it from both sides.
Absolutely. If I could just add something, Colleen, what you were talking about, it made me think about, when I've gone out to networking groups, whether it was virtual or in person, there are the people I connected with right away. And, we talked about business, but, we connected on all other things like core values and what was really important to us. And those are the relationships that I kept up with. I followed up with talking to the follow-up queen. But then there were people who were exhibited shady behavior. That's what I'm going to say. Like there were people who were just like shoveling out their business cards,
right?
And, saying things that made you kind of question their integrity. It's like,
they made an impact, right? It's just not a good one.
Yes, exactly. It was a negative. That's an example of negative impact. Don't do that. Like, just, and it really, and I think that's all stemming from a transactional mindset. And so when it's in my belief that when you see kind of like the slimy behavior, it's from a transactional mindset versus like when you're coming from an impactful mindset. Usually your interactions will be genuine and authentic and will naturally attract you and the people that you need to talk to each other.
Yeah, when people come, and that's the kind of thing, like I look at the energy, like sometimes you get into a room, right? And there's just like, I just love this person's energy. Like even when we connected way back when, right? It's like, oh, I just love their energy. And it just you just want to hang out with them, right? Because they exude this energy, this positive energy that you want to be around, and they bring that into their business, right? But then, like you said, there's other people where, and I chalk it up to they weren't taught correctly, right? So that's what it is. One of my goals is like to help people, learn how to network better, and the fact of, they, their business or their company, when they taught them, hey, go out and talk to everybody within 3 feet of you or whatever, and we've all been on the sales, one-to-one calls that someone pulls out a presentation, a PowerPoint, when we're just there to try to get to know them, right? So exactly. I look at it as like those people, I'm looking to like help them, right? It's like, no, don't do that,
Yes, please unlearn what you learned before.
So it's like so hard, but that's, I look at it as that's what they're taught. And the same, you see it. I have some people that I network, you go to a networking and they say the exact same 30-second commercial time in and time out and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we work on changing it up a little bit to create that impact, right? Because if you go to something on a regular basis, they've heard it, so they've tuned you out, where
Yes.
if you switch it up every now and then, you ask for something different, you share a tip, or you share how you helped a client. Ooh, that was thunder.
Yeah.
The that's where the impact comes, I think. And you're the story person, right? So I mean, when
Yeah.
you're looking at impact in networking, bring those stories in, right? So because I think that
Yeah.
it really helps people remember what you're doing, right? So and pulling it in.
It really does. Like, hey, we're all human. No matter
Yep.
like how impressive our resume, our LinkedIn profile is, no matter like how long that list is of accomplishments, like no matter what, we're all human.
Right.
And if you're not willing to be human in a human setting, then it's that's not that can be troublesome, to say the
Yeah.
least.
So,
So
oops. Yo's out there saying, caught me on redoing the same pitch issue. Yeah. I mean, when you get a good one, the very first part of it can be great. You can lock that in,
yeah.
but then make sure you're always adding something that's different, so that
Mhm.
the people get it. Like if you can lock in that first little bit of like who you serve, what problem you solve,
Yeah.
nail that piece of it, but then make sure you're adding something to it so people have a reason to like keep following up. Like, because if you keep asking for the same thing, they're like, oh, well, I didn't have that last week. I didn't have it the week before. I don't have it now, kind of thing. Switch it up in that piece.
I
So
agree.
let's stay inspired. We love this piece of it, right? So how does the lack of understanding what networking actually is affect your impact? And I think we've kind of
I think
covered
we've
some of
pretty much
that,
covered this
but
already.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else can I say about this? That when you're like what Colleen, what you were saying is that sometimes people, or maybe I think really 90% of the time, people are taught wrong.
Mhm.
And when you are not taught to look at networking from an impactful perspective, you're definitely going to be, unconsciously or maybe intentionally stepping on people's toes and thinking, oh, this is just part of the game. This is just how business is. And, it may give people a bad impression of you when that was never your
Right.
intention. And that's something where, I believe you can always fix things. Like if you make a mistake, you can always, like, usually there's a way to get a second chance, but you know, you you do only have one opportunity to give a first impression. It doesn't mean the second, third, and fourth impression can't make up for that,
One.
mixed first impression, but it's just like it's hard to recover from that. And so and also just to say that when it comes to networking, it's not a here's one thing I can add here. When it comes to networking, it's not about getting everyone to like you either. It's about getting to the people that need you, and getting to the people that you need. So it's not about, oh, I'm the most likable person in the room, because when you are focusing on being the most likable person in the room, then you're going to be more focused on the other people rather than remembering why you're there in the first place. And when you're not grounded in that, then you're gonna be all frazzled in that room, and then people are gonna be like, I still am kind of confused in terms of what this person really does, because you're more focused on like, I
Right.
need you to be on my team so that way you vote me as Miss Popular, versus like, hey, I need you to understand what I do, and I need to understand what you do, and I need to see like if we can potentially create something where we can trust each other in the long term.
Yeah. Totally agree. And then when you're looking, like I said, the understanding of networking, just
Yeah.
realize that it's all about the relationships, and it's not, quote, a numbers game. Networking is a great place to find those connections. But you don't walk into a networking room thinking you're going to come out with a sale. And so many people, I think they think that in the sense of, oh, I can go and meet all my potential clients. And yes, you can, but it's going to take, it's taking time to get there. So,
Yes,
and to
absolutely.
look at that. So, All right. So speaking of networking, we want to keep networking, right? So who should we ask for help to maximize your impact in networking? Who's that person you go to talk about networking or the impact that you're having?
The person I go to in terms of having a better impact in networking are, let's see, I have a few people. Does that only be one person?
No, I mean,
let's see. So first I'll look to my inner circle. Those are the people who know my business best. And those are typically people who are in my mastermind, the Milk Crate.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I go to them first is because they know me best. They know what my objectives are. They know what my gifts are in ways that, I still have yet to see. And so, if I go to them and I'm like, I have this idea in order to, impact my networking more. And they may be like, they'll be honest and they will be loving at the same time. And all of that combination it just means that they're looking out for my well-being and asking me the right question of, is this really the thing that's going to get you to where you want to go? Or does this feel right to you? As opposed to like, oh, it sounds nice, shiny object syndrome, right? Whatever that idea may be. And then, if we got the green light between me and my inner circle, then like I go to my other power partners who also have communities who are also looking to, lean on me as much as I lean on them, and then figure out like, how can we make it such that our communities can significantly get the help they need and the support, while also, helping us to grow the community. It's that combination of making sure the people who have been loyal to us and we've been loyal to are not left in the dust, but still like bring new people in at the same time without sacrificing anything, and then without burning out either.
So yeah, I think you need to look, like when I look at the people for networking, I always look at like you're saying, the people in the community, right?
Yes.
So we test out our 30-second commercials or our little minute things in the Minkuvator all the time. It's like,
Yes.
Hey, here, this is what I'm thinking, the new one. What do you think? And see how it lands on people and see if it does make an impact, right? And then, I also look at like who, when you go to a networking event, obviously connect with the person who's running the event, right? They're the one that knows everybody there and who you should connect with. So if you want to, they're the one that can help make a big impact in your business by getting to know who they think the mover and shakers are in the group. Look at the people who are succeeding in that group, right? You can tell. I mean, there's somebody there that there's a group of people around. Typically, they have a great commercial when they're talking. You're engaged with them. Make sure you connect with that person, because obviously they're doing something right that you can borrow from and say, oh, well, I'm going to take this piece and put it in my thing. I always like look at pulling pieces from other people's, like, oh, I like this, I can change that and make it your own, right? So look at those people, your inner community, like you were saying, those community, and then look at the people that are in the group that you're in. A lot of people are in like referral based networking groups. So, ask them sometimes, it's not everybody right in the group, but you can pull aside a couple of people and say, hey, because like if you feel like you're not having an impact, right? Especially like, I feel like, oh, something's not working, right? Then ask the person going, what can I do differently, right? What are you hearing? Where in my, what do you need? I asked this the other day. I was in a networking group. We do presentations. So I'm like, I asked the question, it's like, what question or what information do you need so that you could refer me easier, right? So what do I have to give you to what information are you missing? What, do you understand what I'm doing? And to make it easier on them. We've talked about it on other shows too. Is like, if you want someone to refer you, make sure you make it easy for them to refer you. Give them the language that they could use. Give them, an example or a story, right? That, that they could use so that when they're talking about it, then that way, it makes it easy. If you make it easy for them to refer you, then it's going to be so much easier for them to do it. Right. If they've got to struggle to do it, then, everyone's busy. Right. So you've got to make it easy for people to refer you, in order for it to happen.
Right. That feedback is so important. And you're right. If people don't know what you need help with, they're not going to do it because they're not mind readers. I mean, maybe some of them might be, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, they're all busy with their stuff, right?
They're all busy with their stuff, right? And then I was also thinking how sometimes for me, I may hear somebody I had never met before. I may hear their elevator pitch, and they may have something I don't have a need for, but there might be something about them that I'm like, I feel like I need to talk to you. I don't know why, but I feel like there's like some energy about you that's like we would be really cool together as some kind of duo, or like just to talk, just to have a good time and get to know each other. And then also when that happens, when I'm next to them and I'm talking, I'll ask questions. Like if they don't make it easy for me to refer people to them, I also look at it, my impact is like, I'm going to ask extra questions just to see like if there's anyone in my network that I can introduce them to, because, we don't know what we don't know. And so I will usually take it upon myself to extend that hand out if the energy of the person's right, to say, okay, I want to know what you need help with. You clearly don't know what that is. Let me ask you a few more questions just to see what that is, because I know what it's like to not know what you need. So let me ask you a few more questions. Like once we understand what that is, then I'll be like, okay, so I can introduce you to this person or this person or this person. And it makes it easier for me to just extend my hand out in that way.
There you go. So as we come to our last question of gaining knowledge, so what is one final tip? I know we have lots that can help people have more impactful networking.
My tip to make more impact while networking is to find a way to make it fun, because honestly, I think it's really hard to fake fun. It's really hard to fake having fun. Like people can tell when you're faking it till you make it. And it's like, that's a fake laugh, and it's really annoying. But if you are genuinely having fun connecting with people, that's when you are genuinely yourself. And when you are in that mode, it's easier to make more of an impact while networking, because you're you. And you're not outside of your body, like trying to figure out what everyone else is doing. It's like, no, you're in your body. You're still observing what's happening in the room, but you're in your body and you're having fun and you're enjoying this and you want to do more of it. And you're just being yourself and you're not feeling like you are having to put on a mask. So that's my number one tip.
Yeah. And I was going to tack on like, be yourself, right? So,
yes.
or as Yo would say, be yourself.
Yes. yes.
Yeah. So it's, and that's how, so, I mean, I came from corporate, so it's taken me like years and years to like really kind of feel like, yeah, I can let loose at different times or stuff. Cause it was always like, oh, you need to be proper and you need to, but yeah, like you were saying, having fun, I think is the whole key to it. Right. So, cause if it's a chore, you're not going to want to do it. Like I love to go networking. Other people like go, oh my God, I hate it. And people ask me, what do you do for fun? I say, I go networking. And they're like, what? I'm like, it just lights me up to go to networking. And because we were talking about impact, right? Because you can have impact on two people at the same time with one activity, right? Mm-hmm. So you were talking about like, if you find out this person needs, they're looking for a type of customer, the person who needs that service, right? So they have a solution, the person has the problem, and you can connect those two people. You made an impact on two people's lives with one activity, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and that's I think what feeds my heart when I do stuff like, it's like nothing like someone coming from a networking thing and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for introducing me to them. They've changed my business. We're partnering together. We're doing webinars together. I'm like, that is just exciting, and
Oh yeah.
and that is like just making an impact, because now not only that, but now they're doing stuff together, right? So now they're impacting so many other people, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel like networking can have this massive impact, on the world, because I help you and you help a person, and it just kind of ripples out, that ripple out effect, right?
Exactly. Actually, Colleen, I just recognized there was something we didn't touch on. I was thinking, and you kind of touched on a little bit just now, but I was just thinking about how, sometimes an entrepreneur may have something like technology issues that, they're not a technology whiz, and technology is the one thing that is keeping them in their perfectionist mode and therefore keeping them from taking action. And so, when they meet someone like you while networking, and, if they're unwilling to talk about their technology issues, someone like you can't refer them to a technology expert. That person is just going to continue to be like, I'll just continue tinkering behind the scenes and wait until I had that all figured out on my own, when they still have yet to figure it out. And so that being said, is that, you can really make an impact on yourself when you're being honest about some of the needs in your business that are really holding you back logistically and also, mentally. And so it's really important to be real about that when you're networking, and tell people like Colleen and myself, you're like, I can't even deal with my website. My website sucks. I don't even know how to work WordPress. I don't know what that is. Like, if it wasn't for that, I'd be like off to the races with my offers. Like, okay, well, shoot, this person over here does websites. Go talk to that person.
Well, and we have that like in our community, right? We talk about, sometimes you need someone else to reflect back what you don't know, that you have the issue, right? It's like you were talking about, like, oh, you're getting too, because I tend to get into the details, right? And we have people in the community, Monica and every other people, other people will say, hey, well, have you thought about this, or have you tried that? And they come at it from a different perspective, so that because you can't see it, right? So and I think that's what you were saying, is like, have somebody where have those people in your community, in your business, as your advisors, that will reflect back to you maybe something you don't want to see, but something you need to see, right? And it's like, oh, okay, and then at least you can act on it, right? If someone can say, you can choose not to act on it, like the person, like you were saying, they could say, well, no, I'm going to figure it out myself, or I want time to do it, and that's fine. But if someone kind of shows it to you, eventually it's like, all right, fine, I give up, let's do it, kind of thing. And then people, I've had stuff where I've had a tool that sends out cards and stuff, and I've talked to people like, I'll get to it, and 3 years later they still haven't done it, and then finally they do it, and they're like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? It's like in your own time. Like, everyone does stuff in their own time, but there's times where we could probably do things a little bit sooner. So
absolutely. But that's why we need to lean on our network for that.
So
awesome.
Right, to like I said, to be that mirror to reflect the things back to you. So all righty. So I told you I thought it would be short because it's just two of us, but I knew we would. It's like, yay, get us talking about networking and things like that we love, and we just want to pour this information and the great tips to you. But it is now time for announcements. So Amy, how can people connect with you, and what's going on in your world?
So I have my open house event coming up for the Milk Crate, which is my mastermind, where business owners can come to practice their pitches in a safe space, and they get that real-time feedback from a loving perspective, and a very honest perspective too. So we're opening up our doors to the world, to non-members, to come join us next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's an opportunity to sit in on one of our meetings free of charge, and then you can get some help with your elevator pitch, as well as just see like how the Milk Crate really works, as well as just understand like what really comes with the membership. So so I totally invite you to sign up, come to the open house, and at the very least, you can see how it goes, and you can give me the feedback I really need in order to grow my mastermind more.
Perfect. That sounds like an amazing offer. You guys need to go check out Amy. And if you are struggling with your follow up, I want to help you. We're talking about having fun while doing follow up. So I created the Fall in Love with Follow Up experience, and I would love for you to come try it out for 2 weeks. Come give us a day or two during the week, and we will get your follow-up done at that time. So it's not a training in the sense of you're just going to come and listen for an hour and then go away. It's you're going to listen, you're going to learn a little bit, and then you are actually going to implement and do it so that you leave with appointments on your calendar. So what else is going on in the world, the Mink Life world? So we've got lots of stuff going on. So we want you to be part of this community that we keep talking about. It's amazing. So come join our community. You can do that at minklifeuniversity.com. We hang out, like I hang out with Amy a couple times a week in the community. So if you are looking for that help that you haven't found out there, come connect with us there. We have our amazing conferences coming up. So we've got one coming up in August and one in September. This is like no other conference that you've been to. We've got the 24 panel discussions, workshops, breakout sessions. Make sure you check that out at nextglobalvirtualconference.com. We're also looking for dynamic speakers for that. So if you're interested, you can check that out there and do an interview process for that. And of course, we have our co-working, the Minkuvator we've been talking about for this. If you have not, if you feel alone out there and you in doing your entrepreneur, building your business, you want to hang out with some amazing people with great energy, come test out the Minkuvator, and we'll make you welcome there. And our, as we were saying, we would love to have more people on the couch. We also would love you to be here on screen with us so that you can be part of this conversation and help share your knowledge out to the world. So if you would love to be here on the live show, just go to minklifemotivation.com/live and tell us. We have lots of different categories. So tell us who you are, what you do, and I'm sure we'll be able to get you on a show coming up very soon. Speaking of shows coming up, we've got Irina on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific to calibrate your life. Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Yep. So hopefully